Thank you for taking this moment to breathe and to listen what can change your life forever. My name is Ragnar Zedikas and I'm the founder of Starpreneur TV, How to Dominate the Decade talk show, World Women Conference in the Worlds, and the creator of Coral Desk. My mission is to empower through education. And I want to thank you for taking this time today. You are investing in your personal growth and thank you for doing so. Today, it is my distinct honor to bring to you a legendary entrepreneur, Jeff Hoffman. Who is Jeff? He's an award-winning global entrepreneur, proven CEO, worldwide motivational speaker, best-selling author, Hollywood film producer, a producer of a Grammy-winning jazz album, and executive producer of an Emmy award-winning television show. The biography is absolutely amazing, but I don't want to take the secret and the mystique away. So let's welcome Jeff to our talk show and let's find out who Jeff really is. So Jeff, welcome and thank you very much for investing your time in our audience. So Jeff, tell us, who is Jeff Hoffman?
All right. And thank you for having me. You know, I'm a big fan of yours, so I was excited to be here. You know what, if I had to summarize it in 2 words, I have them: problem solver. My whole life, there's another word I would use, impatient, and those 2 things work together. My whole life, because I have a problem with patience, I get quickly frustrated with problems, but I don't usually want to walk away. I usually want to fix it, even if the people whose problem it is don't want me to help them. So that being said, I got a degree as an engineer in the United States. And even though I briefly had a job sort of at a big engineering company, which didn't work for me, I just couldn't work in that corporate structure. I've spent the whole rest of my life trying to fix things and trying to make them better. And so that's it. I'm an entrepreneur in the simplest terms, a tech entrepreneur. But honestly, I never use that word entrepreneur. I always just thought of myself, like I said, as a problem solver. Something's broken, there's a better way to do it, let's go fix it. And that very much, my very first startup ever, when I was 20-something years old, I quit that engineering job because I hated it. I hated the job, I hated my boss, I hated my life. And so I just quit, and everybody's yelling at me. Now I'm an unemployed engineer with no money and no food, and being called a fool. But I'll just tell you, I was standing in an airport. So this sort of illustrates, I think, the answer to your question of what I'm about. Waiting to check in for a flight. Back then you had to stand in line to get your boarding card. It took an hour in the line and I missed the plane by the time I got through. And I was frustrated about the fact that it took an hour, but all we really did was stand in line so one person could use the printer. The ticket agent says next, checks your ID, pushes print, and then hands you the boarding card. And I was like, why are we all standing here in a line that's a mile long to watch you use the printer? And she's like, next customer, right? No one's listening to me. But I said, this is ridiculous. There has to be a better way to check people into flight. So I went home that Friday, started my first startup, which was, if you've, for your listeners, if you've checked yourself into at an airport on a kiosk, a self-check-in kiosk, most everywhere in the world, that was my first invention. I designed these kiosks, built them, and started selling them to airports all over the world. So the goal was, I was frustrated with the problem of checking in and the inefficient process. And the solution was, I just said, I'm going to figure out a way to do this better. I think that's sort of, my whole career has been an entrepreneur. And my entrepreneurial career has been looking at inefficiencies and problems and saying, is there a better way to do it?
If you are watching now and if you don't have your pen and your paper in front of you, you need to do it now, because I think today you're going to get a lot of golden nuggets which you can implement in your life immediately. So just this answer is an answer of a titan. Why? Because not trying to do something better, but different and very different way, which is an effective way. So just start to pay attention to every single word. And I think by the end of this interview, you are going to be changed forever. So let's talk about also your passion and purpose in life. I think that a lot of, especially male leaders are so very well known by everything that they do in business and the business success that they have had. But today we would like to understand also what is the real passion and purpose that drives you in life.
Sure. But let me end something from the previous question we just answered, which is the thing they should really write down is next time you find yourself complaining about a problem, stop complaining and start researching and saying, instead of complaining about this one, can I fix it? Because what everybody does is complains and goes home. What the world's most successful entrepreneurs do is they say, wait a minute, this problem right now, I'm going to fix it. So that has sort of defined all the things we were successful at, is because when we saw a problem, we stopped complaining and started designing. So for me, my passion is really, and purpose is really about not teaching entrepreneurship, but teaching self-determination. And what I mean by that is, again, you're going to see a common theme here. A lot of people complain about their lives or wish they had a different life or wish for something more. Whether it's financial freedom and wealth, whether it's being able to take care of their family, improving their community, fixing a problem, detecting disease, making traffic flow more smoothly. There's something that you're sitting there thinking about. And what people, well, here's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is that the self-determination part is, instead of waiting for the future, right, complaining about the life you have and wishing for the one you want, why don't you just design it? And the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that we are the ones that just design the future that we want. And so that, what I realized was, the blessings that I received in my life, the life I was able to live, that I would say I never dreamed of, but I kind of had big dreams from the beginning, happened because I just decided to design my own future, create my own job, and create the reality that I wanted. That is, again, the whole reason to be an entrepreneur, is because we get to design our own future. So my passion and purpose now was when I realized that developing the skill set of entrepreneurship, again, entrepreneurship's not a job, it's a mindset and a skill set. I'm going to fix this and I'm going to design a better future. But teaching people that mindset and that skill set enables more people to go live a better life and to improve things in the world around them. So my passion and my purpose is to teach as many people as I can how to create their own future. And in fact, I once wrote down that, since entrepreneurship's not the job, it's the tool. I actually got sent on a mission from the Obama White House to Egypt, is where this happened, to try to teach entrepreneurship post-revolution. And it didn't really work. And what I realized is people don't want to be an entrepreneur per se. They want a better life by their definition. So when I went back to the US, to Washington, the White House said, what did you learn? And I'll tell you what I wrote on the board. I wrote down, entrepreneurship is the shovel you use to dig a path to a better future. And so now when people say, what is your purpose? I tell them, I sell shovels all over the world. And then they'll teach people how to use them. That's what I'm passionate about. You should create the future you want. I did a talk yesterday with entrepreneurs in Africa. In fact, this morning I was on the phone with entrepreneurs in the Congo. So wherever it is in the world, 2 years ago, I was, down in Mexico, in Guadalajara, in Monterrey, all over the world, just teaching people how to make stuff better. And the way to do that is pick up a shovel and start digging.
So let's take this time to say hi to all our South African audience, which for sure are going to be very proud to hear that you're helping people in Africa. So, but let's talk about the common challenges that entrepreneurs have. And I think when we start our entrepreneurship journey, I think, as you said, we have a big dreams. We think that this is the answer of getting rid of our jobs and everything. But I would say that entrepreneurship tends to be like becoming a parent. You're never ready, and the problems which will surface is like every time you think, can it get any worse? Yes. The answer is yes. But what would you say, like seeing so many startups coming live, and what are the common challenges that it doesn't matter if you do business in Africa
Sure.
or Mexico, they
And there are those. You know, I'm the chairman of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, and we work with entrepreneurs in 180 countries. So I do this all over the world, which has given me the opportunity to listen to entrepreneurs all over the world, which wound up proving exactly what you said. Everybody tells me, well, in my country, it's harder here. It's more. The truth is, we all face different degrees of the same problems. So you're exactly right that the struggles that we face are the same everywhere. So one of them, let's just cover a couple of them. One of them, the first one that I hear all the time is getting people to believe in you and join you. So that starts with employees. How do I get someone to come help me if I don't have any money to pay them? And then later, that translates to investors. How do I get somebody to invest in me when I don't have much to show? And then after that, it translates to customers. How do we get customers to buy from me when I'm just this new little company? Those are common everywhere we go. And the answers are the same, right? The team and the employee part is so critical to building a team. And part of that is focusing on the fact that while everybody needs a salary, that's not the only thing they care about. So if you start the conversation by saying, I really want you to come work for my startup, but I can't pay you the same salary, you're starting out with a negative. Stop doing that. Start by saying, this is what I ask people, what are your dreams? In fact, I'll tell you a quick example of it. When I once asked a guy, and he told me that his dream was to buy his mother a house that she could live in because they didn't have a house. And I asked him, instead of saying, well, you work at a big company and I can't pay you that much, I said, how much do you make at the company roughly? And he told me. And I said, and your taxes and your cost of living, and when it's all over, every month, how much can you put away in savings towards your mom's house? And he told me. And I said, now, how many years at that amount of money is it going to take you to save up enough money to buy your mom a house cash? He wanted to pay for it. And he said, like 34 years. I said, okay, that's plan A. I said, here's plan B. You quit, you join my startup, right? And I said, you have equity in the company, you're super smart, so you build amazing products. 5 years from now, not only are we making a lot of money, but somebody acquires the company. And here's what that would look like. And we laid out the numbers. I said, now what happens? And he's like, well, I could buy everyone in my family a house in 5 years if that happens. So he quit, and he was really smart and he was really focused. And we sold the company after 4 years, and he bought the house. Everything isn't about today's paycheck. Helping people achieve their dreams by being part of a dream with you is part of it. So that's the first one, is getting people on board. That's a common struggle, just like it is telling your story to investors. We all have the same problems in every country and every economy.
So true. That's very true. Let's talk about you. You have the experience of being both public and private company, the CEO for those type of companies. What would you say? What has been your greatest lesson that you have learned as being the CEO of public and private companies? Okay,
so there's two parts of that. The first one I touched on just a little bit right now, and that's this: that you lead from the bottom. Right? Instead of thinking that you're the smart person, you're in charge and you have to run the company, the big lesson I learned, I did not know this, I know it now, is to spend less time running the company and more time looking for people smarter than you and letting them run the company. So when you realize that instead of working 7 days a week to run the business, I started scheduling time to leave my office and go look for smart people. And then when I hired smart people, I got out of the way. And there's a story for another day that one day I left my office to go pick up the laundry of a 20-year-old employee of mine because I didn't want him to leave the office to get his laundry because his work was brilliant. So I said, it doesn't matter that I'm the CEO. It matters that this kid is brilliant and he's in the middle of creating the coolest product I've ever seen. So I'll go get his laundry. When you discover that hiring people smarter than you and taking care of them is the path to success, that was just a huge piece for me. And the other one, I'm going to call it customer intimacy. We spend so much time sitting in our office, designing products, designing marketing campaigns, right? Building websites and promos and social media. So we push our product out into the world and then we close our eyes and pray that someone buys it. Or you could spend time out of your office talking to those people. So part of our key to success was I would schedule time. I would change clothes, change out of my work clothes, change into casual clothes, go to the grocery store. We had a product we were selling to moms that raised kids and didn't work, stay-at-home moms. So you know what I did? You know where they were during the day when everyone was at work? They were at the grocery store. So I changed clothes, dressed casually in the middle of the workday, left the office, told my employees, don't call me. And I went to the grocery store and I just talked to all the moms. Spending a day in the life of your customer and not in your office is a much better way to design products. So that was the second thing that I think was really key to our success was we scheduled time to spend a day in the life of our customers.
Wow. Again, if you are not taking notes, then you need to go back to this video and start to take the notes now. But you have been an entrepreneur. You have done businesses in so many different industries. And obviously one which is always very attractive is someone who can say that I am a Hollywood film producer. So what would you say all of that success that you have had also as a producer, film producer, jazz album, Emmy Award winning TV shows, how do you accomplish all that?
So two things about that. First of all, do one thing at a time. I've done a lot of stuff, but I'm a serial entrepreneur, not a parallel entrepreneur. To do anything really, really well requires all of your focus. To do two things, let's say you're launching two companies or two products, it's not twice as hard, it's 2 million times harder, okay? So to be very clear, every one of those things I did, I only did one at a time. When we were building, the booking.com Priceline company, I was only working there. When I was launching the music company, I was only doing that. Later, when we started making films, I was only doing that. So doing one thing at a time is part of a big part of that answer, is because we were all in on the things we were doing. If you had called me during the day we were doing the Priceline and booking stuff and said, hey, I got an idea, I would have said to you, if it's not an idea how to get more people to buy a hotel room, call me next year. And then some years later, if you had said, hey, I got an idea, when I was doing the music company, I would have said, if you don't have an idea to sell out Friday night's concert, call me next year. Staying focused and tuning everything out, the discipline to say no to everything that is not in front of you right now, that is not your path to success, I think is an important part of that. Second, I already mentioned, because I spend a lot of time trying to find people smarter than me in whatever business I'm going into, and I go look for the best. And then third, I'd rather have 6 rock stars on my team than 20 average employees. So I invest the time to go look for rock stars in every industry. I think that those are really big keys to, and then the last piece would be to recognize that the core disciplines of entrepreneurial success apply to every industry. And that is not where everybody is. Okay, when I started the music company first, everybody said, Jeff, you're a software engineer. You're not in the music business. You can't do music. And what I said was, well, I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to write the music. I'm definitely not going to dance. I'm going to do the business side of it. And I'm going to let talented, creative people do the music side of it. And, that's why it was so cool. But I applied the same core principles of entrepreneurship. What is the product? Who is the audience? Who are the experts that are going to create a product? How are we going to talk anybody into funding the product? How are we going to promote, market, and distribute the product? There's no different just because the product's music. And so it was really cool. We wound up doing tours back then with Britney Spears and Elton John and people like that. And Then we wound up winning a Grammy for an album that we produced. And we succeeded for all the reasons I told you. The same thing happened, for example, with the TV company. We were able to win an Emmy for the work that we did because we were totally focused only on producing high quality product with experts in the field. Stay focused, say no to everything else till you finish the one that you're doing, and surround yourself with the best people you can find in that industry. That's the key. And then use the core disciplines of good entrepreneurship. They apply to every industry.
Well, Jeff just answered like 3 of my next questions, so we will skip those 3 questions. But what got my eye when I was reading your biography is one group, which is Unreasonable Group. Who does this group serve?
Oh, so glad you asked that. That's one of my favorite things that I'm involved in. I was the founding board member. So first, let me tell you why it's named that. There's a famous Irish playwright, George Bernard Shaw, and he had a quote where he said, I'm going to paraphrase. He said, reasonable people expect the world, a reasonable person adapts to the world around them. An unreasonable person expects the whole world to adapt to them. Therefore, all progress is dependent upon unreasonable people. So what we did was we said, let's go find all the people crazy enough to think they can change the world and just help them do it. So that's what the Unreasonable Group is. The Unreasonable Group was built on this statement, that we fundamentally believe that entrepreneurs are the most likely people to solve the world's biggest problems. So what we did in Unreasonable was we formed an organization. It's social, meaning that you have to be addressing one of the world's problems, right? It kind of aligns with the United Nations 17 goals. Are you feeding people? Are you getting people clean drinking water? Are you educating people? The UN's goals for a better world. So if you are an entrepreneur that has a solution that can solve one of the world's biggest problems, we are looking for you. We find them all over the world. We mentor them. In many cases, we bring financing to fund them. And then we stay with them from startup to scale up to help them grow. And just to end, to give you an idea of how it's all about impact, right? I mean, you and I are sitting here talking, but the truth is I'm way more comfortable when I'm doing than when I'm talking. I like to do stuff and get stuff done. So here's the impact, and I'm proud of our team. At Unreasonable, we have over 200 startups and scale-ups, 200 and something startups and scale-ups in the portfolio. They're doing business now in 187 countries. They've generated real revenue, these startups. They're running now. They've generated 3.6 billion in revenues. And here's what I'm really proud of. Collectively raised $4.1 billion in financing to give to entrepreneurs and startups around the world to grow companies to solve the world's biggest problems. And then we finally got these numbers. We have had a positive impact on 354 million people in the world that we've either brought off-grid energy to, brought food to, clean drinking water, whatever it is that we've been able to impact. So Unreasonable, it's unreasonablegroup.com. I'm particularly proud of the impact that we're having around the world through entrepreneurship.
Beautiful. Thank you for your services, because
Sure.
This is one of my passions as well, and I think the work that you have done is absolutely incredible. Let's talk about Dream Tank.
Okay.
So, what is a Dream Tank?
The name came from a woman named Heidi that it's like Shark Tank, but you're pitching dreams. And the reason why is that we created, and I'm the global chairman of Dream Tank. We are in the process of building a global youth problem-solving network. And we started thinking about it during COVID. So here's what's going on in every country of the world. Your kids are home from school. And while they're home from school, 2 things are happening. They're watching the bad news all day long, the media talking about how the world's falling apart, people are getting sick, people are dying, economies are dying. Kids are processing this bad news. Then kids are seeing their parents stressed out because during COVID, people aren't making money and their business is shut down. So they're seeing their parents' negative reaction. Then they're hearing things like, We don't know what the future of school is going to be. When is the work is going to reopen? When is school going to, especially school? They're saying school will never be the same again. So all this stuff is happening, and people are talking about the new normal and the future of school. But you know what they're not doing? They're not asking kids. We're not saying to the youth, when we talk about, when I've been told by people in higher education, we're designing the future of education. I'm like, how are you designing the future of school with no students in there? Why aren't kids in the room telling you what school would look like and how it would work better for them? So the whole idea was young people should be involved in the design of the future. They should be in board meetings. They should, right? They should be included in solving the problems for the future, and including asking them, you got any suggestions for how to survive this COVID thing? Why aren't we asking kids? They're smarter than we think. So that's what Dream Tank is. It's our effort to bring youth to the table as business leaders, politicians, and entrepreneurs are solving problems for the future.
Again, incredible idea, and I think this is exactly where to start, because I think there's so many kids who are not able to adapt to that style that has been here for the last 4 to 5 months, and expect especially the little ones to just sit in front of the screen the whole day and doing
Yes.
what you want them to do, but not what they want to do. It's challenging, obviously. But tell us more about your philanthropic projects. I know that you are doing more with helping than what you just mentioned. Is there anything which is very close to your heart?
Sure. There's a project right now, and it is COVID related, but it's really important. We saw, starting in the U.S., that all these small, well, I'll give you an example. I was on national TV just the other day talking about these horrifying numbers. 2 million small businesses in the United States closed their doors permanently in the second quarter alone. In a 90-day period, 2 million businesses shut down forever in the U.S. That is unacceptable. That is happening all over the world. And so the governments around the world are creating various programs, and the various programs are designed to provide stimulus money to save small businesses. But here's the reality: they're not getting to all the small businesses. They're not saving them all. So what we decided to do, and especially, by the way, we got data, especially not minority-owned businesses. For example, women-owned businesses are getting way less of the money than male-owned businesses. And, you know, Black-owned or Latino, Hispanic businesses are getting less of the money. So what we said was, the government's not going to save everybody, so let's see what we can do to help. So we started a program of our own, my organization, Global Entrepreneurship Network, the one that I mentioned, genglobal.org. And an organization that helps small businesses that's called Hello Alice. Started out helping women in business that are friends. We started an organization to give out $10,000 cash grants. It's not a loan like government money, it's just cash. We're just trying to help people stay alive by giving them $10,000 cash to help them get through these hard times. And some of your viewers that I heard from that have seen my business partner and friend, Pitbull, the singer. Pitbull and I have done television public service announcements and gone on the media and social media to talk about this program. So some people have seen Pitbull and I talking about it, but you asked what's near and dear to my heart. That is because we've been able to help the people that need it the most. The people that are really suffering and literally can't feed their family right now. Our question to them is, would $10,000 cash help you and your family out right now? And we're getting it to as many people as we can. That's what's very meaningful to me right now. At a time when people need their neighbors to help them, we're trying to be good neighbors, and we'll soon announce that we'll be doing this on a global basis, not just in the U.S.
Wow, beautiful. Well, I'm pretty sure that after that announcement, my inbox is going to be full now with messages. So you need to give a website or something where we can direct all those people
Okay.
that are in it.
Sure. So I'll tell you two things. They can look at that site. If they're not in the US, they can't apply yet. If they are, it's covid19businesscenter.com, covid19businesscenter.com. My website's jeffhoffman.com. I will say this, my email's pretty darn easy. It's just jeff@jeffhoffman.com. But we will soon be announcing a global branch of our grant giving program as well.
Beautiful. This is extraordinary work, and I want to thank you on behalf of everybody that has already been part of it, and I think a lot of females are very appreciative as well. And my minority has been, since we started this talk show, almost every week, at least twice a week, one of the topics that we have discussed. But I know we want to give one very specific workbook, in a sense that I was reading a short review of your book, and the book, I think, would serve a lot of entrepreneurs. Can you tell us about your book,
Sure.
which you have written?
So my co-author and I, David Finkel, we wrote a book called Scale. And it's Scale, Proven Principles to Grow Your Business. And we did that to answer the fundamental question we kept getting asked. People say this to me all the time. They say, I'm stuck. My business grew to a certain level, and now I'm stuck. I don't seem to be growing anymore. By the way, percentage-wise, of course, in the first couple of years, it's easy to have a big growth percentage because you started at zero. But a lot of companies plateau. They might have $1 million a year in revenue and they want to be a $10 million company, or they're at 10 and they want to be 50, and whatever it is. Or, you know, you're at zero and you'd love to have that first 500,000 in sales. Wherever it is, people are stuck and they don't know how to make their business scale or grow. So we wrote the book Scale. You can find it on Amazon under Scale in my name. And we wrote a book to walk people through 7 steps you have to take. It's even workbook, like to work on these steps in the book in order to prepare your company for exponential growth. That's what Scale is all about.
Beautiful. I'm pretty sure that everybody would agree with me that it's going to be very interesting to see how the legendary, iconic entrepreneur sees the future. So what the future will bring Jeff personally and professionally.
Well, you know, the good news, well, I'll tell you, I was going to say personally, but it's a little bit professionally too. Media and COVID helped this because we were all at home. So we're all consuming more content like this, your show, right? More people are looking for more content. And what's good for people like you with broadcasts like this is people realized that didn't used to learn online, that you can expand your skill set and educate yourself by listening to shows like this. So there's a demand for more content out there, and we're going to continue to produce television especially. We may get back to making some more movies, but we're going to produce television. And the show that we won the Emmy for was a show that redefined success for sort of the next generation, for the millennials and beyond. Was the old definition of success, let's all get rich and famous, is changing a lot with this generation. And so we're exploring what really will make you happy. What does success really mean and how do you get there? So I think we'll spend more time using media, social media and traditional media to help deliver a message that hopefully helps inspire and motivate people.
So, and just to wrap up our interview, what are your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade?
Okay, how to dominate the decade. So we'll close with this, with these 3 recommendations. The first one is to constantly scan the horizon for what is changing and what's about to change and recognize the trend before anybody else does. A prime example is what just happened in COVID, right? All of a sudden, online education and virtual teaching is a brand new market. And online work and work from home is a brand new market. Telemedicine is really a brand new market. somebody that was thinking about the world saw these things coming and is ahead of the rest of us. I actually was doing a call not long ago with the creator of Zoom, and talking to him about what they saw and what they see. So the example would be when people started talking about the sharing economy, right? There was a couple of people that said, I wonder if you could share your car, and Uber was created before anyone else thought of it. So one way to dominate the decade is look for trends before anyone else does, but you got to look for them, and you got to think hard about how is the world going to change, and how can I be there for them before the change happens. The second one I already talked about, which was the most valuable resource in the world is not financial capital, it's human capital, it's talent. So the difference between the people that will dominate the decade and everybody else is not who raises the most money, it's who finds the smartest people. Giving a whole bunch of money to average people does not do anything. Giving a small amount of money to brilliant people yields amazing results. So find and team with the smartest people you can find before someone else takes them. The winners for the next decade are going to be the people that built the best team because they jumped on that opportunity first. And I would say the third one is use the media and the technology to grow your markets the new way, not the old way. In social media, you could put out a message and say, we're thinking of selling our product in Africa. Is there anybody there? Is there somebody in Cape Town or Johannesburg that would like to be a product rep and you want to talk? You never had that tool before. How are you going to open a South African office? You weren't if you were living in Mexico City. The process of connecting with that person or whatever was difficult. Today we have tools that enable you to instantly put out a message of what you're looking for. Somebody in Joburg contacts you in Mexico City and says, tell me about you and your business. And you say, tell me about you. And you're building global networks using these technology tools so you can expand businesses using today's tech in ways that you couldn't in the past. Take advantage of that. Those are my three things.
Those are beautiful, beautiful recommendations. And again, if you didn't write them down and you were just listening, go back to them and write down. And in a second, I will tell you why. But Jeff, if someone wants to follow you, if someone wants to contact you, how they can do so? Just let's recap the connection points that people can have.
Sure. On social media, my Twitter handle is just Speaker Jeff. Otherwise, I'm on LinkedIn the most. That's where people can connect on LinkedIn. And like I said, this is on my LinkedIn anyway, but the website's jeffhoffman.com and the email's jeff@jeffhoffman.com. Easy to find.
Beautiful. What would be your last message to everybody that took the time today to listen to this interview? What do they want to remember about Jeff Hoffman?
I'm going to say one word: impact. Everybody talks, very few people get things done. I think in the end, we've been tried to be the people that get things done. I used to have a sign on my door that said, ideas are welcome here, but execution is worshipped. Because people would come in and tell me something and I'd be like, yeah, you've been talking for 20 minutes, just go build a prototype already. Don't tell me about it, make it. Impact in getting things done, execution is everything. Everybody's got an idea, everybody's got a plan, very few people execute. So we want to be known, and I do personally, as people who made an impact by getting things done.
So Jeff just stole my words, because that was what's supposed to be why you're first writing things down, because you need to execute on them so that you don't forget them. And so if you want to become the hero of your own life, then just take action on those points. If you want to be the hero in someone else's life, then you need to share this video, because there are people that need to hear exactly this interview with Jeff, and this is going to be their turning point in their life. So become the hero of your life and someone else's life. Jeff, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to be here in present. I know that we took 5 minutes more than we agreed out of your time, and just incredible recommendations were given today, and keep on doing the incredible job that you are doing and impacting and being significant in our lives.
Thank you very much. And you and I will talk again soon. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you.